So I've spoken about the term Azania for a very long time, since like 2020 when I started like trying to dissect the word itself. I always put it next to the word Zanj. Azania and Zanj. They both mean the same thing and were both meant to describe a specific region of southern eastern Africa in a way that was derogatory and a way for them to explain the land that they had claimed as their own. This would be the Greeks, the Romans, the Arabs, etc. It was also derived from the Persian word that was able to describe the entity that they were not of, which was the black people, in this time of enslavement and persecution. So they were describing the Azanians of Azania as those black slaves, the black people of that specific black region. In no way has Azania ever been of indigenous lingo or language or etymology. There is nothing African about the name. Just the mere fact that it was not originally ours, that it was used by people who enslaved you, who persecuted you, who displaced you, destructed your lands, and were using you. If you guys know anything about the Zanj rebellion, you will understand where the word Azania came from, why they had these terms to describe these places, just like the word Kafir. There's no difference with Azania and Kafir. It was the Pan-Africans who ended up adapting the name in order to say that it was not colonial, which it very much was. The fact that there's the shift between Azania and Zanj, let's also clarify the region. The region they were speaking of was like Tanzania, Kenya, and then northern part of Mozambique. Not South Africa, but stay with me. At the end of the day, the shift between Azania and Zanj just clearly tells you how outsiders shaped African identities through their own lenses, and then Africans decided to adapt it and label themselves based off of the lens of outsiders who were describing them? Can we get a break? It was the teaching of Baba Credo Mutwa which made me discover the word Abtu. Let's also not forget that Tu and Tu, and when we say umuntu mnyama tu, we mean like the deepest of the darkest of the blackest of the blackest, right? But I'm getting basically explaining the primordial waters, the deep abyss from which life came. He says in one of his books where he compares the word Abtu to being the womb of the earth, and explaining that geographically it's in southern Africa, where first consciousness, first humans, first gods arose from, or from the reefs, the reeds, etc. Just like the womb. The womb in ancient African literature is known as a portal that transfers or transmits ancients from their timeline into this timeline, the portal. You know what I mean? So Abdu explaining that specific magical situation as being from Southern Africa, also with the backing up of the fact that the cradle of humankind, etc. Now, when we take the word Ibuzuba, that comes from the Empire of the Sun, which in Southern Africa you will also find in Zaloyelanga, which they have now called Adam's calendar, which is known as the oldest stone circles. But specifically in our etymology, it is where the sun was born. That's where we get the word Ibuzuba, which meant the empire of the sun people. Those of the sun. Those of our color skin. But that was also a word to describe the entire Africa. This Azania thing is giving Al-Kabulan, knowing very well it's not in our languages, it's a very Arabic language, but us wanting to, we're from Al-Kabulan. Jesus Christ, bro. Is there not a name in your own language that you would like to call your own country? Like South Africa can't be called Mzansi. We've got beautiful names like Abeja. Like we've even got things like Gauteng, even the province itself. Kwangobo. Like we've got names that just clearly make sense and tell a story about a specific region. Why is it necessary for us to pick up a name that has got nothing to do with us and was actually given to us by our oppressors? Is one of these teachers who actually explained and said the way that they liked replacing the words in order to confuse us, right? They replace Ntu with Negro, Abdu with Sub-Saharan, Muntu with Native. There's all these words that they have to replace in order to confuse us. Then we start having debates about it. I think that we should have the word Azania. Azania! Since when did you hear the word? Put it in a sentence. Put it in a sentence. Make that shit, and better not put English, don't Azania. No. Put it in a sentence. Put it in an African sentence. Yeah, I'll wait.